Changing a starter on a car is actually pretty easy. First thing you want to do is disconnect the positive battery post. That way you don't have any sparks or anything. I got a new starter. Actually, that's the old starter. I put that starter on, but it quit working. It's underneath that exhaust manifold down there. Can't really see it from here, but you can see some of the wires coming off of it. So to put one of these starter motors on, it's actually really easy. There's two holes, one here and one here. This is the top of it actually. So you go in from the bottom. There are two bolts to hold that starter on. Before you take those two bolts out, then you have two wires off the back. One this is a 5/8 or a 9/16. That runs straight up to the battery. That's where that big fat wire goes, straight down to this starter. And then the other terminal right here, it's 11/32. And that wire is the wire or the terminal that starts the truck. This is just for power, and this one down here, actually when you put power to it, then it'll start your vehicle. If the starter switch or anything goes out, then you can actually take a screwdriver or something, short it between these two terminals, and it'll add positive electricity to that terminal too, and that'll cause your starter to run. I'm pretty sure my starter's out because I got in the truck and turned the key and it just clicked, and I got this red wire. This red wire runs straight down to this terminal, well, on the truck anyway, and when I touch it to the positive side, then that should start the truck, except all it did was click. And I know I got a good ground because this cable here runs straight to one of the bolts on the starter. This one runs to the engine, right there where the alternator is. So I know it's got good electrical connections and the battery is up, so it's got to be the starter. So I'll get under there and swap this out real quick. It only takes a few minutes. Alright, got the old starter off. It's sitting right here. I think one of the main problems with this is all this play right here, and you can see a big gap in the end. Move the shaft around. So that's probably the culprit of why it wouldn't start. Maybe getting in a bind or something. It can probably be rebuilt though, so I'm going to hang on to it. So that took about, I don't know, 5 minutes under the truck. No big deal. It's actually really fast to change the starter on one of these old vehicles. If you had to do something on a newer vehicle, well, it's a pain in the ass. Alright, got the old starter pulled off. New starter's bolted on. If you want to take a look at it, I guess. So the tarp back under here is pretty sandy. You can see the starter pretty easy right there. That big wire I got running to the negative battery post. Make sure I got a good connection to the starter. Those are the two bolts that hold it on, and the solenoid's it's up there. If you're going to take that starter off, then I would recommend taking the wires off at the top first, because it's really hard to hold the starter up with one hand and get the bolts off with the other hand. It gets heavy after a while. So go ahead and disconnect the wires first and then pull the starter off if you can. If not, then maybe get like a jack stand or something to hold that starter up so that you got enough room to reach the wires. We'll see if it actually starts. When I took the negative or the positive post off, it broke. So I got some vice grips holding it on, which isn't very good because they're positive now. If I close the hood, they'll short out. Probably not a good thing. But this is the wire that runs straight to the starter solenoid. Well, it turns out it wasn't a starter. I showed you how to change one anyway, I guess. No big deal. I still got the spare down there. Turns out to be a flat battery. I didn't realize that. I turned the lights on, they were bright, but apparently they weren't all the way bright. It's hard to tell in the daytime. So I got some jumper cables on here. I'm going to let it charge for a minute. I'm going to touch this. It's almost there. Need a little bit more of a charge. Not quite enough. Alright, got a couple minutes on there. It's trying. I don't think it's going to do it yet. Still not starting. It was about to turn over though when I had the jumper cables on the car. But it wasn't going to do it, and I didn't want to leave the car on there. It's not really good for the car. So I put it on my battery charger. It's actually my dad's. Mine's got everything but the 50 amp start, except I neglected to realize that the extension cord was not long enough to reach my truck. So I just took the battery out. The meter on 10 amp charge, it started at 8.5, and it's been going down since then. We're at about 3.5 or so now. We'll let it sit for another, say, 10 minutes, and I bet that truck will start. While I let the battery charge, this double shifter setup didn't have a boot to fit it since it's only supposed to have one shifter. So I took an old rubber mat. I'm probably going to tuck that underneath the existing mat, even though it's in bad shape. I'll probably leave it in here. And that should cut a lot of the exhaust up in the, and the noise up in the cab. And I just set this down here. There's already a hole in the boot, so I just stuck the shifter through the existing hole. So I just thought I'd put that in there. That should cut down on a lot of noise and fumes. And well, I gotta wait for the battery to charge anyway, so. Well, I gave it about 10-15 minutes on the charger. See if it'll actually turn over now. Yeah, it's turning all the way over. So, back in the cab. See if it'll start. Oh, it did start. Batteries. She got charged. All right. I'll leave the hood unlatched. I gotta leave clearance for them vice grips. I got a bunch of junk to get rid of, so we're gonna drive over and get rid of the junk. It was a dead battery. I changed the starter for nothing. Oh well. It's a lot quieter with that cover there. Worked pretty good. Well, to explain a little bit, I loaned my battery out to someone whose battery died while they were in town. So I ran in town and loaned them my battery, got them home. They went and got a new battery, gave them my battery back, and I just assumed that it was charged because it was just in a car just 2 days ago for about 40 miles. So it should have been charged. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to tell the other people that they have charging problems because they probably didn't have a bad battery. They had a bad alternator. I didn't know that. But I put a good charge on my battery. It started the truck. It's running fine. My gauges read correctly. Everything's fine. So, stupid me. I shouldn't have just assumed it was a starter. I should have tested the battery and see what kind of charge was on it before I decided to change it out. The thing is, it's just so easy to change the starter on one of these. There's no reason why not to. It's just simple.